Hi everybody in Periscope land. So the reason I have you looking at this flower right now is I just found out that the reason why Periscope is called Periscope is because you're supposed to see something through someone else's eyes. And I figured instead of starting off with the selfie or the driveway like I did last time, we do some pretty roses. Anyways, let me turn this bad boy around. So, um, welcome to this is broadcast number 2, the first broadcast I was freaking out about, and it was on my birthday. And let me get out of this weird lighting. And I promised myself that I would broadcast again. There you go. I would broadcast again when I posted my new blog post. So it's finally up, and you can go check it out. If you're on my Facebook page, it's All Frills Beauty. But the actual website is allfrillsbeauty.com. Go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see that the post today is called Creativity Killers. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today, because though the way that I formatted it was so that it kind of explained my journey and why I dropped off the face of the blogosphere for a while. But as I was writing it, I really did realize, hi cousin, I realized that a lot of people have other issues in their lives or things that they're trying to pursue that sometimes, you just lose your muster for it, or you can't find the passion to do it. And so hopefully the lessons that I learned in why my creativity was killed, and essentially why I had the worst writer's block that I've ever had, can help you in some of the things that you're working on. And whether it be parenting or working on a relationship, if you're building a business, trying to find the finances to go on a great vacation or get your new home, like, you have to think of creative ways to do that. And sometimes if you allow your circumstances to get in your way, then you'll just stop pursuing your dreams. So I found 5 that I could identify off the bat. I'm sure there's 8 million, so I would love to hear what some of your creativity killers are. But I have notes, so I don't want to sound crazy. But the first one that I talk about in the blog, and I still want you to read the blog because what I'm talking about here is a little different. But the first thing that I talked about in the blog was living inside the box. And one of the things that I think that we tend to do is look for the answers. And I really talked about blogging in that one, in my blog, but I was thinking the whole time about like parenting. So I have a 3-year-old, and I'm always looking for, how can I turn this guy into the man that he should be? And there's really no rules, and there's no indication. There's no way for us to really know if we're doing the right thing. I think sometimes we can take too much of everybody's advice and just go a little crazy. But the reality is, like, your child, or your business, or your brand, or your husband or your boyfriend more than anybody else does. So though those articles that we may read or the books that you read are helpful, you can't live in there. And so I have a couple others are in there too. Like, so for me in the blog, in business and other things, if you focus too much on results, I think that you can also squash your creativity. Now, I do believe that you should have goals and you should think about things that are important to you. But at the end of the day, if you're too focused on the end, you'll miss a lot of the things that are going around in your present. So there's a lot of indication about the things that you can do differently in your life if you look around. And sometimes just taking a moment and taking a walk, and on a day that you're frustrated because you're not moving towards your dream, like, you have to walk outside and just look at the beauty of where you are. Or, it's great for me is I'm a journaler. And so sometimes I go back to my old journals and it's like, ooh, girl, you have come a long way. So even though sometimes I'm not where I want to be, knowing that I've come a long way is so helpful on kind of giving me back a little bit of something to make me move forward. Okay, so the one that really kills me the most is imitation. And I know that sounds funny to someone that I talk about being authentic and unique, etc. But I find that Facebook especially will get me going. So sometimes scrolling through my timeline, or especially if I'm feeling some kind of way, looking at what other people are doing and trying to implement it will kill a lot of things. For one, sometimes if you look at what other people are doing, you don't really know how they got there. You just see where they are. So if you see what they're doing and you try to implement exactly what they're doing, you miss the whole process of why they actually came to that place. And oftentimes, if you're duplicating exactly for success, then you're missing the whole point. And it's more about the journey that you're on than actually, you know, I have to be successful. Like, what did you learn in the process? Are you a good person? So those are some of the things. And I admit, like, social media will sometimes kill all my creativity, because I'll look at what somebody else is doing and think, I don't even want to do that, or that looks like too much trouble, or is that really me? And I'll decide that, oh, these are the things that I'm going to have to do to be successful, when in reality, I have to do me, and that's what's going to make me successful. So the fourth thing, and this kind of happened to me, and it's also a creativity killer, is like, if you kind of just aren't feeling yourself anymore and you fall out of love with yourself. And I know that's a big self-esteem thing, and people will tell you that you only have you and to deal with, and it's all about your self-confidence. Yep, social media. Somebody else says social media is their killer. It'll get you. You just gotta walk. Sometimes you just gotta log off. But yeah, sometimes you'll just not feel yourself, and you know, that's really tragic, to not love what you're doing and you fall out of love with it. And again, for me, sometimes it just talk to somebody else. So for me, it really was helpful when I talked to somebody, when I got out of the blogging world, I talked to somebody else who was reading my blogs that said, I really did enjoy them. And I'm like, you know, I forgot I'm not in this little circle by myself. Or sometimes when you're dealing with, you know, I go back to the parenting, or you're in a relationship, or, you know, sometimes just talking to somebody, I've had people compliment, wow, your son seems so happy. So even though he's driving me nuts, I have to remember that there's some good stuff going on there, and that I might be doing okay. So when you fall out of love with yourself, just try to find some perspective and remember how amazing that you are, even when you're not feeling it. The last one that I talked about was that the biggest one, I think, the thing that happens the most is that you forget why you were doing what you're doing. You forget your purpose. And I think you often have to go back to the macro picture and go back to the big picture and decide, why did I start this? Why did I start wanting to go on this vacation? Or why did I want this house? Or, you know, why did I start blogging? Or what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And remember, go back to that emotion that you felt when you first started it, and that thing that's driving you to want to continue to do it. And I think that those things will be very helpful to you in finding your creativity. There's no formula. That's kind of the lesson in all of this, that you just kind of got to do you and figure you out. And that there's probably going to be several more times where you fall off and have to come back on and remind yourself and go through different mantras. And I'm not really a ritual person, so I kind of have to reinvent the wheel every time, because my reasons for not feeling something or losing my creativity, having writer's block, or whatever my issue is, my reasons aren't always the same, so I can't always use that formula of success. But I do know that it's important for me to go back and find what's unique about the situation, what's great about me, and why I want to do it. I think just really maintaining and focusing on your purpose is the most important, the biggest takeaway that I could give. So with that being said, please go read the blog. I hope that all this stuff is part of it, but it's not what's in it. So read it. My stories in there and aligned with it are kind of like why I came to these conclusions. I would also love to hear, like, what are some of your ways of getting out of your own ruts? And how do you get re-inspired? Or, you know, what are some tools? Because I feel like we're all just trying to figure it out. And if we can really start to help each other and just continue to love on each other, then the world will be a much better place. Like, think of all the creativity that you'll continue to strive for and finish. So thank you very much for the time that you've spent with me. If you have any questions, then you can either shoot them here for a couple more seconds, or, you know, find me on, hi everybody coming in, find me on Facebook, All Frills Beauty. You can find me on Twitter, either at this handle, CocoBaby1979, or at All Frills Beauty. I answer them all. And I'd love to connect with you and talk to you. Tell me what you think. And I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks for coming. Bye. Oh, just kidding. Or not bye, because I don't know how to turn this